back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Welcome to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today we're speaking with JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services, Inc. Jim's words of wisdom have appeared in the National Post, The Province, Business in Vancouver, and the Vancouver Sun. Jim has also appeared on the Czech TV series Family Matters with Judge Harvey Brownstone, speaking on wills and estates, as well as family finances and divorce. Jim, we know that one of your areas of specialty is around divorce financial planning. Do you think it might surprise our listeners to actually hear that divorce rates tend to spike in the month of January?
I have no idea why spending all that time together would have any impact on divorce in January. Okay, no, I'm just kidding there. Joanne, as you know, money and finances are amongst the top 3 drivers of divorce. And it's a sad reality, a tough way to start the new year. But I think some people really do want a fresh start. New year, new you. These people could use a bit of help exploring some of the new circumstances.
I know you've been helping families for over 10 years around the area of divorce. When people are heading into this process, where do you start the conversation?
Well, I think a great place to start is, are you safe? Do you have any urgent financial needs? Once the decision is made to end the relationship, one of the key elements is determining what type of divorce you're going to have. Then choosing appropriate legal counsel and the divorce legacy for you and your children if you have kids. You don't need to solve everything right away is one of the key points that I want to put out there.
Well, it all sounds very logical, a lot of common sense as well, but it can really be difficult to remain level-headed when emotions are involved.
I think it's really important that couples be able to talk openly about their perspectives and goals in a respectful manner. Reaching common ground involves acceptance, patience, and a willingness to engage. And this is especially true when going through a divorce or separation.
This has got to be a very tough order for couples who weren't good at communicating with each other in the first place. So where do you start that conversation? What do you actually say to these folks?
I think it starts by acknowledging that people want to hold on to the familiar. They want to maintain the same standard of living that they enjoyed as a couple. Sometimes people are not able to recognize or accept that they are 2 separate entities and that they need to adjust their budgets accordingly. The fact is, they might not even be ready to look at some of the harder decisions that need to be made. And that's where I come in.
So engaging a professional divorce financial planner like yourself, Jim, can help people discern what to focus on and what not to focus on during tough times. Before I met you, I didn't even know that such a thing existed, divorce financial planning, but it actually makes a lot of sense now.
Joanne, let me share the Coles Note version of how I came into this area of specialty. There's a really high divorce rate out there. And I saw the financial impact and the anguish of divorce on people. It was hard to see them going through such a rough time, and I wanted to be able to help them. The problem was worsened by the fact that many advisors simply aren't comfortable around the subject matter and preferred not to be involved. There had to be a better way. So when I learned of the Certified Divorce Financial Analyst designation, I became certified in 2004. Over the past 11 years, many of the files that I've worked with have come to me through referrals, whether from existing clients or other lawyers. And it still amazes me, to this day, how often people come to me and say, Jim, listen, my situation is so simple. This should only take a few minutes. That is until we actually start talking about it.
Well, when you look at divorce options on the surface, some people are coming to the table with fear, anger, anxiety, mistrust. It takes a certain caliber of advisor to help deal with these particular issues and concerns in a very respectful, patient manner. So, Jim, it's wonderful to hear that there are resources and advisors like yourself to help deal with the financial fallout.
Oh, great. Joanne, experts say not to make investment decisions based on fear, greed, or grief. And for many people, divorce is a period of emotional distress, and they can strongly benefit from having a third-party perspective to help suss out the options and issues that they haven't even thought of yet.
So aside from the Certified Divorce Financial Analyst designation, what other training do you have that prepares you to help in these types of relationships?
Well, mediation and facilitation training help de-escalate conflict so we can keep those lines of communication open.
Well, it sounds like common sense to me, but why would mediation and facilitation training help?
When you're going through a divorce, emotions are all over this stuff. Chances are you're being asked to make a number of decisions in a short period of time regarding income, which assets to keep, and which trade-offs to make. It's unfortunate, but without understanding the new lay of the land, hasty decisions can often lead to undesirable consequences. People need to work with a certified divorce financial analyst to understand how to disentangle their finances. Do you really want to be asking your divorce lawyer for financial advice on current and future consequences of the choices that you're being asked to make right now?
Never thought of it that way, but that's a good point.
When you make this shift from being part of a couple to being single, there are different financial planning concerns that arise. From splitting joint investments, and here's the part that often gets missed, the tax part. Things like joint bank accounts, jointly held insurance policies. It takes time to assess what the new income streams are going to look like, and what the monthly expenses are, and even where the income is going to be coming from.
You've just painted a great picture here with a lot of moving parts to this process. These financial planning elements can actually be confusing at the best of times. Throw some divorce emotions into the mix and, well, it could become a real headache.
Oh, exactly, Joanne. Agreeing on how to divide your shared assets can be a major source of anxiety, confusion, and conflict. Making smart financial choices for you and your family can have long-range effects. So you want to get this right. Questions arise, such as what things should you look at? Should you want to keep the home, or if you want to keep your pension? Which investments should you consider accessing now to meet your current lifestyle needs, or should you not do that? The income streams that you're dealing with may be very difficult from where you're accustomed to, and knowing and understanding your new options may require the services of a financial planner.
Well, it's interesting, and I never knew this before I met you, but there are a few different divorce models out there to consider, but I don't think most people know much beyond litigation. Go to court and fight it out. I understand the choice you make can actually have a great impact on the outcome and on the costs.
I have to acknowledge that there's some files that are best left to the courts to resolve, such as cases of abuse or highly contentious cases. But I sometimes am left to wonder if people might be a little bit hasty considering litigation, especially if the couple has resolved most of the issues or are likely to do so. These folks could be a great candidate for mediation or collaborative divorce.
Can you actually tell us a little bit about collaborative divorce? It's a relatively new term in the divorce market.
Well, it's been around for well over a decade. Collaborative divorce is a no-court option, which means you don't go to court. It's an alternative to adversarial divorce. Yes, specially trained family lawyers, separately representing both yourself and your spouse. And instead of working against you, the lawyers meet with the two of you to create an agreement that's right for both of you.
So what happens when someone's not good at communicating their wishes or there's a power imbalance?
Yeah, we see a lot of that out there. In a situation like this, a divorce coach can be brought in to bring support and strength and ensure that the person has a voice in the process.
One of the commitments we've made with this show is to talk about all of the subjects regarding financial planning, even the tough ones like the reality of becoming suddenly single or divorce. Jim, since this is an area of expertise for you and you obviously see it a lot, what are some of the implications of becoming suddenly single?
Wow. The responsibility and the pressure to make sure that your financial decisions are the right ones can be overwhelming. If you were making joint financial decisions with your partner previously and you're now making the decisions all by yourself, well, that can be new territory. Making sense of your new financial situation and your options is brand new territory. And sometimes confidence can be a casualty of this situation.
Now, I remember you telling us at one point that over 80% of women change advisors within 1 year of losing their partner. It sounds like one of the implications of becoming suddenly single could be that women who truly need competent professional financial advice might not be finding the support that they deserve during this tough transition.
Joanna, I find it incredibly telling that 80% of women change advisors within a year of losing their partner, whether that's through death or divorce. And I think one of the primary reasons, and this is just my opinion, may be that advisors are not listening to the concerns of their clients, or they're not communicating options that are clear and easy to understand.
Jim, I think you're a great resource for all of this stuff. You not only help your clients look at the consequences of divorce, you can help give them a sense of what their new future might look like as well.
I understand that the demise of a relationship can be traumatic enough without having to throw money matters in as well. If you've not been accustomed to making financial decisions, the learning curve can be rather steep. Financial literacy, like exercise, requires a consistent approach, and I can help keep the focus on what matters and make sure that you feel safe in your choices.
To offer some guidance to our women listeners in particular when it comes to divorce, what are some elements that women need to be aware of?
Well, as I said earlier, I think one of the first things you need to look at is what type of divorce model that you're going to choose. I think litigation works when the other options don't. Options mentioned earlier like mediation or collaborative divorce. The method chosen can have a big impact on the amount spent to come to a suitable solution. Now, the second thing to look at is your post-divorce standard of living. Attempting to maintain the standard of living you enjoyed as a couple prior to the divorce can be a challenge. And new financial priorities can include things like having manageable debt load, or having enough money to survive, or having enough money for housing. It's not surprising that we see a number of newly single parents trying to keep the family home to finish raising the kids, but unfortunately using a disproportionate amount of their resources to do so. In the process, they often trade off investments or retirement assets that they're going to need in the future as they look to divide the pie equitably.
You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650, and I'm Joanne Sutton. Today, we're speaking with JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. To learn how JimDoyle helps financially comfortable Canadians, I encourage you to give him a phone call, 604-682-5431. And as we head into a brand new year and you're not where you want to be financially, call Jim. 604-682-5431. There's still a lot more to come with JimDoyle. We're going to look at ways to start creating healthy financial habits for 2016. That's all next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.